Ice Masters Nationals for WizKids. All right, so again, my name is Shaheen, the Royal Falcon, and I'm also the head judge. We're broadcasting here from our lovely hotel, as you can see from my background. We will be starting the first round in just a moment, so I'm going to switch over to that scene. Actually, before we do that, I do want to mention, again, because I'm the head judge and the commentator, on occasion you will lose me when I go to do judge calls. However, the video will continue. So yeah, let's switch over to the main screen for our first round. So this will be Laurier and Nick playing against each other. They are, let me just grab their lists. Here we go. I will be posting these lists later on so that you guys can see them in great detail, but for the moment, you will be able to see them on the screen based on what they're playing. So, yeah. So they're just setting up right now. We have not started any timers. We're waiting to make sure everyone's ready. And I will be back in a moment. We will let this continue and you can see what's going on. All right, so guys, we have started round one. Timer has started. We are doing 35 minutes based on, seemed logical. Anyways, so what you're seeing here again is Nick versus Laurier. So they are both playing a version of Yuan-Ti. In the case of Laurier's team, he's playing Yuan-Ti Epic Humanoid, Pseudo-Dragon Paragon Familiar, Zalanda Destined for Greatness, Elf Druid Great Order of the Gauntlet, Shriek Dark Empathy, which is a difference, which is interesting. Dark Empathy being the one that, when fielded, blanks everything temporarily, as opposed to the one that will, when fielded, blank one thing permanently. So we'll see how that plays out for them. He's also running Bat Signal and Cobalt Trap, as well as Danger Room, which is the version that creates villains, as well as has a global to do damage to villains. He told me before the event that the reason for that was that he could reset his Shriek whenever he needs to by using the ping damage off of Danger Room. All right. Also, his basic actions are Resurrection and Improvised Weapon. Then there's Nick. He is running Resurrection and One Against Many, Bat Signal, Yuan-Ti Epic Humanoid, Pseudo-Dragon, Batarang. That way he can deal with things like Shriek himself, as he can use it to do damage to those. Cosmic Beyond Imagination, which allows him to be able to buy things like One Against Many for much cheaper. The same Zalanda, and he's chosen to go with the rare Mjolnir for its global as well as his optional removal. Alright, so let's see where they're at. Well, I do apologize for the glare. That just happens to be where I've positioned them and the sleeves, which is why I've explained what's going on. I'm actually going to cut out for just a moment and see if I can move Oh, by the way, I should explain. Sorry, got to get up and rolling, so some of this commentary might sound a little weird as I get rolling into the system. So the black die and that side of the board is Laurier. The blue die and that side is Nick. When you're looking at the up close, the upper section is Laurier, the lower section is Nick, and that'll generally be the layout for most of the day. All right, so at this point, Nick has gotten out a Yuan-Ti, looking like it's on the base on the lowest level, and you may be hearing some background. We are in a very packed space. We have 30-some HeroClix players right beside us running a sealed event, whereas we have 10 players in this qualifier. We'll see how many we get for the next one, but I'm really happy to have that, including 3 of which that are out-of-towners, which is always nice to see. 2 of which, in fact, I actually met at last year's Nationals, and we'd had a nice chat. They hadn't had they just weren't available to play, and they've decided to come out for this weekend, which is amazing. As well as another member, the other out-of-towner is actually from the UK. All right, I'm going to just pause my voice for a moment so that I can go move Nick's life counter so we can see it more clearly. All right, so it looks like I just won't be able to deal with that glare at this moment. Possibly between the 2 qualifiers, I will move some things around in order to try and reduce that glare a bit. I just didn't realize it was there when I set up this morning. But either way, I have already, as I mentioned earlier, what was on the table. I mean, this is functionally 2 different Attune teams with some minor variation. Right. Well, there's a Zalanda. That hit. That's good for him. Just so you guys know, since you can't see the reserve up close, I will let you know what I can from there. I have instructed the players to try and move things up to the top edge so you guys can see some of what's in the reserve. However, to get close-ups of the reserves and as well the field and attack zone, you end up not being that close. So trying to give you the best of both worlds here. Okay. So right now, Laurier still has 2 fists left. There's buying a Cobalt Trap to do some removal with the Yuan-Ti Attune, and buying another Cobalt Trap for 2 damage directly. And Laurier just made a comment about how overstuffed his bag is getting as he buys all these 1 costs. So Nick decided intentionally to do something which most of us wouldn't have expected. That was to activate his bat signal before fielding to not do damage. I think he was getting confused again on how super rare triggers versus just Attune, and he just missed out on 2 damage, unfortunately. I should also mention I'm sitting about 14 feet away from them, so they do not hear what I'm saying, in case anyone is concerned that I make comments that could adversely affect their game. All right, so Laurier is digging into that big bag to see what he can get. Oh, he's got a pseudo dragon available potentially, and he hits it. Sidekick's okay. Yeah, rerolling everything but the pseudo. That makes reasonable sense. Okay, so there's Laurier using an action in order to be able to use a tune to ping off Nick's Yuanti, so that now, while he buys things, he is free and clear to grab everything he wants. All right, so Nick is buying another Yuanti. Putting the bat signal up so he has it for later. It's a level 3 pseudo for anyone who's curious. So just so you guys know, they were discussing the fact that the bat signal accidentally got turned from single burst to double, but for this bat signal it makes no difference, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, sometimes fingers just slip, right? All right, so Laurier is making comments about trying to end the game right here and now. There we go, and the game is done due to Yuanti Super Rare. Saw the handshake, Laurier wins this round. So guys, I will see you again in a bit. I'm going to stop the stream, and I may even have enough time to try and fix some of that glare. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again in a bit.